I'm going to show you the easy way. Yes, there is an easy way. Some important dates to remember. The whole month of October is your time to get prepared. Follow the steps on the Recharter Backdater Guide. October 29th, the access codes are emailed to the Key 3. November 1st is the first day you can log into the UCRS web portal to begin. November 15th is the due date for all assistance applications. December 15th is the due date for the charter renewal online submittal, and December 31st is the due date that everything, all your paperwork, all your money, everything needs to be into the council office. So how do you get Internet Recharter done in 10 to 20 minutes? Well, you get prepared during the month of October. You make sure that all your adults have current youth protection training. You want to review your roster. Where do I find a roster? You can find it in Member Manager on my.scouting.org, or you can find it in Scoutbook. Review it, look for missing youth, missing adults, get them registered, turn in their applications. You want to make sure that you are not adding any new members during Internet Recharter. Yes, you heard that right. We are asking all of our units not to add new members doing Internet Recharter this year. We want to get them added through the council prior to you beginning. So encourage those new families joining in October, November, and December to continue using the Be a Scout web portal to apply online and pay online, or filling out a paper application, and you can scan, email, you can fax, you can mail it to the council office with the prorated amount. If you're unsure about the amount or how much the membership fees are, please give me a call and I'll let you know so that you can write the check out and be correct on that amount. Following these guidelines will ensure that your renewal processor can get the charter renewal done in 10 to 20 minutes. So let's begin. The Key 3 will give the renewal processor the access code and the link to the UCRS web portal. They'll click on that link, and this is where they register. They'll select the button Register First Time User. The renewal processor will enter the access code, select the type of unit from the drop-down box, and enter the 4-digit unit number and click Continue. For the confidentiality agreement, read it and select I agree. The renewal processor will type in their name. They'll select a super simple password, type in their email address and phone number, and click register. There are 5 stages to Internet Recharter. This screen shows a brief description of those 5 stages. Just use the scroll bar, and when you're ready, click begin. Always select the button that says Load Council Information. This page just shows a brief description of all the steps to stage 2. One thing to note, up in the upper right-hand corner is a little gear. You can click on that at any time and log out. It will save all progress you've done so far. On this page, it shows the chartered organization address. If that hasn't changed, you can click on Next Step. Another thing to note is there's a button on the right that says Review Print Roster. You can click on that if you want to review your roster at this time. This is what a draft version of a roster looks like. Here you have your roster with all your members, starting with adults and working your way down to the youth. They're all pre-selected to renew. This is where you're going to deselect any of those members who are no longer going to renew their membership with your unit. One thing to note on this page is on the right, you have an update unit roster. This is very important. Before you do the final submittal of your charter renewal, you want to come back to this step in stage 2, select members for renewal, and click on this button. This will upload anybody who came into your unit while you were doing the unit charter renewal through an online process or through council processing in a paper application. So this will upload those new members onto your unit roster. So try to remember to do that towards the end of this stage in case you know that some new members came on board. Click Next. This is just a summary of all the members that you selected for renewal. Click on Next Step. We're going to skip this next step. Do not use Promote Member. We'll skip through some slides after this. We're going to skip this step too. Do not add any new members. If you absolutely have to, give me a call, let the council do it. On this step, you can update member data. Let's say a member gave you a new phone number, a new email address, or maybe they moved and gave you their new address. You can click on Update next to their name and change that information for them. Click on Next Step. On this step, you can update and change unit positions. Let's say you have an assistant scoutmaster who is going to be a committee member for 2021. This is where you can click on Update next to their name and change out their scouting position. Just make sure that you fill all the minimum requirements. They're shown on the right-hand side of your unit adult positions. Click on Next Stage. This stage is where you're going to check your roster for any errors or warning. Click on Check Roster. If you have any errors or warnings, this is where they'll show it. You need to fix your errors to continue. Warnings you can bypass. So to fix an error, you click on the person's name. Just read what the error is. If it's an error that you can't fix and you need council's help, give me a call. Go ahead and click on a person's name if you have an error. This is the page that you can correct your error. You're in the members' data, and you can scroll down and get to the next page. There's usually 3 pages. Get to the area where the error needs to be fixed and make your fix. If you're unable to fix it, again, give the council a call. Click Next. It will ask you to revalidate, and if everything's good, you'll get this congratulations. Go ahead and click on Next Stage. Here's a summary page. You can review print roster. Again, it's a draft version, but if you haven't received your charter organization rep's approval for the revisions that you've made, this is a good way to do it. Send them a copy, a digital copy of the revisions. Get their approvals because you're going to need it here in a few steps. Click on Summary. This is an extremely important step. This is where you can update member fees. This is how you make sure that the calculated fees at the end of this are correct. Let's say you have members who are multiples in several units. Find out where their primary position is. For example, a scoutmaster would be primary over a committee member. So let's say an adult is a committee member in this unit and a scoutmaster in another unit. They're going to pay their membership fee to the other unit, and they're going to be a multiple on this unit. Select Update next to their name, and a new box will appear where you'll select a few things, like you'll let them know that they're a multiple, what unit they're a multiple with, and it will remove the fees here in your charter renewal. You will not be paying for that person. This also includes youth. Let's say you have a youth in a troop who also is a member of a venturing crew. Where do they pay their membership? You need to coordinate this with the 2 units. So somebody doing the charter renewal for those 2 units knows Who's going to do the update and mark them as a multiple? Also, you need to look at your Boys Life subscriptions here. If they paid for Boys Life, make sure that they're being charged a fee. This way, if they're not, you click on update next to their name, and there's a little box that you can click that will give them the Boys Life subscription and put in that $12 fee. One thing I want to note is that exploring posts do not multiple with any packs, troops, or crews. So if you have a member who is also a member in an exploring post, it is not a multiple position. Click next. This is where you select whether or not your unit is 100% Boys Life. How do you determine it? At least one magazine going to every address in the youth category. So if you have 3 brothers, only one of those brothers needs to receive the Boys Life subscription. If you're 100%, click OK. So if you followed the guidelines and you got your chartered organization rep or your executive officer's approval for the revisions to your charter renewal, this is where you can select their name from the drop-down menu, and you can click on the I, we, agree button. Your fees are shown on the right-hand column here, so you'll kind of have an idea what your fees are going to be. If you do not have the approval of your charter organization rep or your executive officer, you can still log out. First, print a draft version of your revisions, then log out, send it to them by email, get their approval, log back in, select their name, select the agree button. If not, you'll have to select the do not agree, and you'll have to get a physical signature. We highly recommend that you get their approval ahead of time so you can click I agree. Click next. Here you're at the payment screen. Your fees are listed here on the right. There are 3 ways you can pay. We prefer to credit card, there is a 3% processing fee. Direct to council, there is no fee. We prefer the direct to council. So make your selection and then click next. If you paid by credit card, this is what you'll see. If you selected pay direct to council, click next. If you selected e-check, it will bring up the screen and you'll need to fill in all the information and click on complete. On this screen, it does give an option to click on a box if you're going to pay by unit account. We at Twin Rivers Council, we do not have unit accounts, so you cannot select this box. This is where, if you're ready, you can click on the Submit to Council button, and this submits your charter renewal. Click on Submit to Council. A confirmation box will appear. Click on OK. The national office has a little brief survey. If you want to fill in some words, go ahead. If not, you do need to click on Save to get to the next screen. This is a screen where you can print your renewal paperwork. You have print renewal application, print annual charter agreement, print easy charter renewal, print JTE scorecards. If you forget to print, don't worry. We have links to several of these forms on our TRC Scouting webpage. And if you forget to print your charter renewal application, we can do that for you. We want to help our units out, save them some postage. So you really do not have to print the renewal application. We can print that for you. Congratulations, you're done with Internet Recharter. See, that wasn't so hard. So if you have any questions, please give me a call. If you'd like to make an appointment with me and we can do this together over the phone, I'd be happy to help you. Please, 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 if you need help, reach out to me or to your unit commissioner. We are there to help you. Thank you, and I'll see you next year.
All right, so That was the end of the presentation that Sandy made. I understand that she went very quickly, so I will have a PDF of the slides available after this meeting as well. So I know it was really fast. So does anybody have any questions so far? Yeah, Lee, do you have a question?
Well, I have lots of questions because I'm not, but so I will not ask them all now because this is going to be my first year doing it myself. But I did want to ask at least, thank you, by the way, because I'll need more time to read all those slides. But the part where Sandy was talking about having the unit representative agree, and she was talking about making sure you have that approval in advance. She's talking about approval in writing or verbal approval, or can you just explain that piece?
Yeah, so like your charter rep, your institution head doesn't have to do anything on this online recharter platform. So a verbal consent is fine. If you want something in writing just for a more official sort of thing, you can get that too. Essentially, all you're doing is you're just clicking that yes, I, parentheses, we agree, and then clicking next step. But you want to make sure that you have that approval from your chartering organization before you click that box.
Got it. Thank you. And just to be clear, I'm guessing that you and Sandy have, for instance, this Monday off, Columbus Day and Veterans Day off and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Ren, I do have a question because I've seen this twice now, and and if I had the question, I'm sure other people do. So as we're going through this process, where I look very hard at the slides this time. Where does the council fee go in there?
So the council fee is added on to the end part where you have, like at the end slide where it had that side column with the different fees listed out.
Check.
So that's where it'll be broken down into. It'll have the cost of the national fees, the cost of the council fees, the unit recharter fee, and then I believe that's all the fees associated.
So when we get to that, when the person re-registering, and I'll be redoing my troop, but when we get to that part of the rechartering, there will be a block there where we will see those fees displayed.
Yep, they're automatically applied. So there's nothing that you have to enter in, nothing like that. We have like a workout with the national office, so our fees are automatically applied in that rechartering website.
Which is new, of course. Before we had to do it differently. And the other question is, again, if I have the question, I'm sure other people will. Right. So credit card is great, but now I'm getting charged more. You don't want me to use an e-check because it's so complicated, we'll screw it up. Probably. So when you want us to pay directly to the council, basically send a check.
Yeah, so you can send a check, or you can also, if you live close to the Albany office, you can drop it in the drop box. I have no problem running around to pick up checks if you don't want to mail it. I know that saves on postage. I can claim the mileage, so I have no problem with it.
Got it. So what we're telling people is everything is online except for the part with the money.
Yeah.
That's the old-fashioned way.
And the salmon sheet.
Yeah, no salmon sheets, but it can be all online if they want to pay that extra 3%. But
right. Well, they can do an e-check if they want, right?
They can. I do think there's a processing charge with the e-check as well, but I would have to double check on that.
Okay, I just want to be so we can all anticipate questions. Thank you.
Yeah.
Some people asked, is their account's debit card counted as a credit card?
Yes, it does.
Okay. That some people will need to know because a lot of units now use a debit card for all their transactions.
Yes. Yeah. I did ask that before. Yes. So if you want to do it with one of your cards, you're going to pay more.
And we really need to make that clear to all the units.
Hey, Lee, one of the questions you asked about that institutional rep approval, that can be as little as a phone call. And if you get stuck, you can talk to your charter organization rep instead of your institutional head. It's not the desired way to do it. Sometimes it's really hard to get hold of that IH. So I have processed them with a COR approval as well.
Yeah, the COR should work because they are also affiliated with the chartering organization.
Exactly so.
That's great.
So it gives you options, Lee.
Thank you. Can I ask one more quick question while I'm stealing attention, and then I'll promise to be quiet?
Of course.
I know for a while the mail, with COVID and everything, and the office being closed, the mail was, there was something going on with the mail, and we mailed in a check for an individual scout who registered maybe a month ago, and as far as I know, that still hasn't arrived at the office. So now I'm thinking about mailing in a much larger check, because I don't go over to Albany very often. What's going on with the mail? Is that going to be a secure thing to do? Because I mean, one of those I personally sent, priority mail or something, and it still took 2-3 weeks to get there.
Yeah, so the problem that we were having with the mail should be solved. What was happening was it was getting forwarded to one of our employees' houses, and then we canceled the forwarding, but the post office apparently was still forwarding the mail when they weren't supposed to be. So we should have gotten that figured out by now. I know we got a huge batch of mail last week, so I'm thinking that's all the backlog from the previous weeks. So we should have it figured out by now. All the mail is coming straight to the office now, since we're open. But I'll let you know about the check that you mailed in for the scout too. I'll talk to Sandy about that tomorrow since I'll be in the office. Any other questions?
Just an
Yeah.
idea. Go ahead.
This is Jay. How are you going to handle those unique people that are district people that do not have a unit?
Yep, so it's going to be similar to years past where you submit your application with your payment for the year. I believe we're waiting until the nominations processes go through for their individual districts. So you may be like you will be repaying your membership in January, I believe.
We're going to end up submitting applications again.
So I believe everyone's membership is good until January who's on the district committee.
Yeah.
And so, because that's typically when we renew our members through the nominating committee process. So I think that's when everyone re-registered last year as well.
I'm just pestered with having to fill out another app. That's all. I should have.
Yeah, no, I totally get you, Bill.
That's ridiculous. Nobody else does it that way.
Nope. I wish I could change it, but it is tough.
Also, my question is, how are you going to handle YPT?
Yes, so that's another, super important thing to note. You cannot recharter if adult members of your unit have expired YPT. So the council has been sending out regular emails to people whose YPT is expiring. The national office sends you an automatic email when your YPT is soon to expire. Everyone should have taken it in 2018 when they re-released the new course. So everyone's will be expiring this winter. So it's important to get that done beforehand, because if you wait until the last minute to do it, everyone's waiting until the last minute to do it, and the servers are going to get overlogged. I highly recommend member of your unit key 3 takes a look at the training report on my.scouting.org for their unit to see whose YPT is expiring, so that way they can get a head start on it.
And also, you can tell the units you can get it on Scout. They can get it through Scoutbook too, which I find it's easier to get it through Scoutbook than the training report on myscouting.org. I don't know why, but I know that when I looked at my unit, I had 5 people who owed it. One guy did it. We just have to keep. But as we talk to the units, they can go into Scoutbook. They can run one of there's a report for YPT in Scoutbook, and that'll help tell them who needs to have it done.
Just as a warning to folks, the YPT thing is kind of kludgy. I redid mine a couple months ago. I had to take it 3 times. And the only reason why I finally got credit for it is the 3rd time I took it, I took a screenshot of the congratulations, you're complete. And when it didn't update on my records, I went back to member services and sent them my screenshot and said, fix your records, please. Mm-hmm. And they did. Unfortunately, member services doesn't exist anymore. However, we have the next best thing in the form of Sandy, and Sandy can fix things like that. So remind your people, just to be safe, when you get to that last screen, snap a shot of it with one of these or with this computer, whatever, so that you don't have to go back and forth. And they're working on it, but it's still kind of funky. And it will get worse, like Brianna said, once it gets pressured by all these people pouring through there, it'll probably get more difficult. So cover yourself down by taking a picture.
There are also 2 YPT courses listed on the national website. Don't ask me why, but the one that you have to take is the one that's listed as mandatory youth protection training. There is one that just says youth protection training. If you take that one, you will have to retake the mandatory youth protection training one. So that's really important to keep an eye out.
So why would they do that?
I don't know.
It's a leftover from the days when there was a YPTO2 for venturing and explorers and a YPTO1 for scouting and cubs. And when they updated and went to one YPT, they screwed up the update on the site. And they're going to get it out of there, hopefully.
The medallion that says take YPT doesn't go to the mandatory. You have to explicitly go into my training, go through and find the required one. And we are going to need to work with people on that.
All the more reason, make sure you grab a snapshot.
Yep.
Ticket to get out of jail.
Exactly. My thinking is if you can't remember the last time you did your youth protection training, it's probably time to retake youth protection training.
The other thing for the units that are on the line, keep in mind, if you want help, if you get to the point that something's not making sense, or you want one of us that has done this before to take a look at your stuff, get in touch with us and share with us your ID and password. And we can jump into the system, take a look at your documents online, try to diagnose what's going on. This is just for charter update, nothing else in your life. And we can look at it for you and probably fix it for you online. That's another option to you if you want to do it. I think I looked at 6 or 7 charters last year, fixed 2 of them, and 4 of them were good to go. So that's another option for you too.
Yep. And that's why Eric and I are kind of encouraging folks we're going to send out a sign up genius for those who want that one-on-one help, that we would love to do that one-on-one help with you, go through your recharter with you. Any questions, we can answer them on the spot. So if you're really having trouble, then you can sign up for one of those slots.
I'd be happy to help you with that, Rihanna, if you want an extra set of hands.
Yeah, we could always use the extra hands.
Yes, indeed.
Rihanna, can you double check on the extra fee if you're using an e-check?
Yeah.
I've been paying council fees on e-check for years. Other than rechartering, I've always used a check for rechartering because it was all paper. But all my reservations, camp reservations, that we've always used e-checks with no issues at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
But we've never been charged an extra fee for doing that.
I'll double check. I'm not sure if Brian can answer this question off the fly, but I'll write it down and I'll double check.
Okay, thanks.
I don't know the answer to that, but I know people have used it for camp registrations and things like that. So I don't know if there's a charge on it.
Yeah,
I've never heard of it being particularly complicated. I don't know if there's an issue on the back end. It's not that complicated on the consumer end, on the front end.
If you've used it once and you have your account in there, it all kind of auto fills for you, and you just click yes. And as long as your account number is still the same and your billing address is all the same, which kind of same with a credit card, it's always gone through with me for no problem at all whatsoever. So
I on a national telecom the other day, I was told that it will hit you with a 3% fee on your e-check or your debit card. And the reason is when the software was set up, they were just thinking people would be using credit cards. So they set it up to automatically recover the 3% fee from a credit card. And supposedly they're going to go in and tweak the software and make it so that you can do an e-check, e-payment, whatever you want to call it. But I've not been told that that's happened yet, Steve.
Okay. I mean, certainly if Rihanna wants to drive all the way down here and pick up my check, that's fine. But,
it's a beautiful drive. I mean, I definitely will.
Well, I would hope that gets resolved, because that's an issue for camp payments, big money camp payments and things like that as well. That was the alternative that we would tell people, is use the e-check so that you don't incur the fee for the credit card. And I did just have a letter returned to sender from the post office that I had sent to the council office in mid-September, and I just got it back about a week or so ago. So I think, I don't know, hopefully it's been resolved, but there's still some gremlins in that system.
Yeah, I'll look into it tomorrow. I remember something being mentioned about e-checks at a field staff meeting not too long ago, but I'll still double check on that. And then I hope the mail situation is figured out. I'll talk to Ruth about that tomorrow.
Brianna, we do need to let people know how to locate their routing number off of their checks.
Do people not
and
know
where
that
it begins
anymore?
and ends. A lot of people don't know that.
Really?
The if you looked at the slide that does show you if you go into the e-check where to look for that information.
Okay, I didn't see it.
Yeah, it's on the slide. It shows you how to do it. But again, we can help people do that.
Yeah, definitely. A couple important things to note too from Sandy's presentation. You cannot add new members onto your recharter. You have to encourage them to register beforehand. Or if you have to add them on at recharter, call the office and we'll process them so that way they get automatically added onto your recharter paperwork. You also cannot use the promote members feature in the rechartering system. That kind of messes things up a bit. So it's important to not do that step either.
So, but if somebody does have somebody coming in, they can just do it online and it'll if you're in the process, it automatically updates, right? Or they can simply wait till January and sign up if they need to.
Mm-hmm.
I've done that with kids who were late for the entire chartering process.
Yeah.
One of the things you got to watch out for, if you know you have somebody that recently submitted and should be on your charter paperwork and you don't see them, just before you hit go and submit, download one last time.
Yeah.
And make sure you've gotten everybody. Because the system is not Speedy Gonzalez. It's not bad, but it's not Speedy Gonzalez either.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions out there? I know a lot of us old timers have been talking among ourselves. Anybody else have any issues, questions, concerns that Rihanna or Bill or Brian could talk to?
Doesn't have to be about recharter either. Kind of opening up the floor.
Well, one thing I did want to do, while I had a chance before I forgot, is Bill McFarland here on the video conference has expressed an interest in crossing the state line and becoming a commissioner in Yankee Doodle District. So as soon as Rihanna figures out how to do that with the registration, we'll suck him in and have one more Pat volunteer, Patsy, whatever, to help out.
Welcome.
We really appreciate it, Bill.
Welcome, Bill. Now, maybe Bill's had his troop over to our spring camporee the last few years that we've been at Chatham Fairgrounds, and his troop always does a great job. So, and he's originally from Chatham, so we're happy to have him back.
And it's good to be back. And
which state line are you crossing, Bill? Massachusetts?
Massachusetts.
Very nice.
I'm originally from Canaan.
Oh. Canaan, New York?
Yes.
That's where I'm sitting right now.
He used to be in your troop, Lee.
All right. I love
in
it.
the old days.
Well, we'll have to get together and chat with masks on, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. In fact, if you see me there, I probably have, if you see me at the Chatham Fair, I'll probably have a Troop 112 canvas tent.
Any other issues, questions, comments? Can I segue into one subject here just to throw this out? Folks, just FYI, we are looking at trying to do a COVID-19 Klondike. Rhea and I have been talking. We got Brian in the mix to get some thoughts. I talked to my troop that was supposed to sponsor it. We think we can do it, but we will need to have we'll get the district committee to officially approve it. I've just mentioned this now because we may need some help. But the goal here is to stagger arrival times, very carefully choreograph this sequence of activities, keep, some of the things that we would all cluster together, like the big morning hoorah and the big afternoon hoorah, and not do that. You would simply come, do the events, go home, and we'll post the results later. But at least it would give the kids something to do. It would get us out. So we are working that, and so we may be looking for some assistance with that as we get closer. I just wanted to bring that up since we have a lot of folks here who are very helpful with those things. Randy, you got anything else? I don't want to waste people's times. Does anybody have any more questions?
We always got to keep that meeting under an hour, right? So I don't really have anything else. Anyone else have anything they'd like to
Just
say?
please, as you talk to folks out there, let them know that if they need help, please reach out to us. Rihanna's going to post this slideshow. The slides are out there too, right, Rihanna?
I think they might be on the website. I'm not 100% sure, but I do have the PDF of the slides without Sandy talking, so you can kind of go through them a little slower. And I'll send that out in a constant contact when I post the link on Facebook tomorrow.
Yeah, so we'll get that out, and we'll also have stuff on the Facebook page. So anything we could do to help people, anybody out there from a troop, please contact us. I've been through this. Bill's been through. Most of the people up here I see have been through this, and it's going to be a little bit different this year, less paper, but it'll all be glorious. Okay.
And I have a million questions, but I'll follow up with you, Rihanna. And Brian, I might have a question for you if you have 60 seconds after this ends. I mean, we could just stay on if that's okay.
Yeah,
Anyone's
sure.
welcome to eavesdrop on my exciting question if you want.
And then I also know that we haven't really been talking about membership at all. So I will be reaching out to units regarding membership because it is kind of that season, right? I know we've been talking about popcorn and recharter, but it really is membership season right now. So I'll be reaching out to you folks about that later on next week. All right, if that's all we have, I think we're good to go. Thank you all so much for joining. I really appreciate it. I hope this meeting was informational for you all.
Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Thank you.
Night.
Thanks, Rihanna.